Hello, everyone. My name is Billy Baxter. I'm the head of corporate development and operations at Immutable Holdings.
And I'm Jordan Freed, chairman and CEO.
And we're back again for another weekly roundup with Immutable Holdings, where we cover what's happening within the digital asset ecosystem and also talk about ourselves, Immutable Holdings. So, Jordan, to kind of kick things off for this week, I want to kind of focus first on just the overall markets, both crypto, and then also talk a bit about NFTs. One thing I found pretty interesting, or something was circulating around the internet this past week, was a report that Goldman Sachs had put out in regards to the top performing assets so far in 2023. And lo and behold, the top asset over the past 3 weeks of 2023 was Bitcoin, outperforming many other assets, gold, S&P, et cetera. So as we've been talking over the past couple of weeks, it's been great to kind of see some of this renewed interest in the space. Obviously, we got a long road ahead of us for the rest of 2023, but it's obviously good news on that front. So,
yeah, 100%. I'm not very surprised by that. I think that's amazing to see, and it's to see it from Goldman Sachs and to have their name on the letterhead. That's good as well.
Totally. So to follow up on that, and also I know you guys had recently talked about this on the latest Coffee and Crypto podcast you released yesterday, but at the same time too, not only has there been some movement happening on the crypto side, but also NFTs have been seeing some benefits there as far as higher sales volume, higher number of transactions, number of holders, number of people trading, and then also holders of NFTs. It's been good to see some of that activity pick up. Just curious to kind of get some of your thoughts, at least of what we've seen over the past couple of weeks there in the NFT space.
Yeah, the NFT space continues to see record-breaking. I wouldn't say record-breaking. Maybe that's the wrong way to frame it. I'd say really high transactions. So the top collections, specifically CryptoPunks, as well as the Bored Ape Yacht Club, we're consistently seeing these things trade over 70 ETH, which is well over $100,000. Today, just as we're recording this, or I should say within the last 24 hours, we've seen a CryptoPunk go for 151,000. We saw Bored Ape go yesterday for over 160,000. And again, this is in the present, today's price of ETH, which is doing pretty well. I mean, Bitcoin's above 23,000. ETH is above 1,600 US dollars. It's good to see this. I mean, volume has not fully restored back to the levels I think all of us would like to see it at. But if you look at what's happening in the crypto markets, you have today, within the last 24 hours, you have about 17,400 buyers of NFTs, about 24,000 sellers of NFTs. So obviously way down from daily active user numbers where we saw hundreds of thousands of people buying and selling NFTs. Today, about 3.8 million, almost 3.9 million unique people actually own NFTs on the Ethereum network. So it's good to see. It's good to see that the market is it's still here. There were a lot of people who said NFTs are dead. And it reminds me of the people in previous Bitcoin correction cycles that said Bitcoin is dead or Ethereum is dead. It's clear that NFTs are not dead. It's clear that NFTs are much more than just art and music and movies. But it's also clear that most of the world has never bought an NFT and today doesn't own an NFT. So we in the industry, especially, at Immutable Holdings, where we own and are actively building NFT.com with, by the way, our incredible community, our Genesis key holders. Shout out to the Genesis key holders who are in our Discord community. I was chatting with them last night. Incredibly grateful to all of them for actively beta testing, for giving us their feedback, for being direct with us. We really appreciate that. The volumes are still down 80, 90% in some areas from the NFT perspective, but there's some healthy signs that NFTs are here to stay. I'm confident they're here to stay. And we're building NFT.com, again, not for where volumes are today, but for where we are very confident they're going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So yeah, good to see.
And I would just add on to, that dialogue there is also, we're back to levels that we saw prior to November, kind of prior to like all the chaos that was ensuing with FTX. So it was almost as if the market's just gone back to kind of reset itself. Obviously lower than it was in 2021, beginning of 2022, but
Yep.
still active in the sense that people are still looking at projects, new projects are being released. Actually, on that note too, I know you guys covered this on the Coffee and Crypto podcast, but we saw Porsche kind of enter the Web3
Yes, we did.
universe. Now, some could
So
argue it was,
by the way,
yeah,
I won't
go
give
ahead.
my thoughts. I won't give my thoughts because if you want my thoughts on the Porsche drop, I'll give my brief thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Oh, sure.
And by the way, go check out the Coffee and Crypto podcast. We're still getting our reps in. You know, we're new to podcasting. Be patient with us. But the latest episode is already up. Go check it out on our YouTube channel or anywhere where you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment, leave a review. Let us know what you think. Billy, Porsche did a mint for 9/11, 0.911. Your thoughts on Porsche's NFT mint?
So I'm going to put aside the price because I just want to make some kind of high level observations, and I'm going to kind of view it from an optimistic perspective. The fact that we saw a brand like Porsche, you know, one of the automotive companies within Volkswagen Group, come out and try an NFT, that's wonderful. It's a great way. It's been great to see brands kind of enter in Web3 space, creating NFTs. Obviously, NFTs can kind of serve as an extension onto their brand. They can be used for marketing. So to see those use cases being deployed by new companies, that's great. When it goes specifically to the Porsche sale, I actually kind of have a contrarian view on all of it, is that I think where Porsche kind of failed, because, you know, just for our viewers' sake, the TLDR is that many view the Porsche NFT sale is unsuccessful. There was a lot of negative feedback on Twitter, but I think what Porsche broke down on was that they weren't going after their customers. Like, they weren't going after the target customers that buy Porsches. They were going after kind of like a Web3 audience that may or may not have some sort of affiliation with the Porsche brand. And because of that, you know, it was the outcome that's came out of it is just in line with the fact that the people that were interested in buying those NFTs weren't necessarily the target audience for Porsches. They should have been going after people that have Porsches, whether or not they're in Web3 or not. You know, that's ultimately the, you know, fan base is probably most interested in buying those NFTs. And some of those folks aren't necessarily into crypto or Web3. So I think Porsche should have probably spent more time trying to target those folks and trying to make it as seamless as possible to introduce those people into the Web3 universe, as opposed to just going after this whole new, you know, kind of customer set. So
Yeah,
like I said,
I mean, we
a little
had
contrarian, but
yeah, we had fun with this one over on the Coffee and Crypto podcast with Yale Freed and Matt Harrison, and this was this to me is, again, my full thoughts are really over there, but just Porsche needs to put their ear to the ground a little bit more and be more part of Web3, because I think that this is just a complete miss, especially trying to go out with 7,500. Great to see big brands. Great to see big brands trying to come into the space, but you really have to understand what's going on, especially in a day and age of free mints with massive corrections in prices. No one wants to pay, you know, 0.911 ETH. That's effectively $1,500, $1,600 almost for your mint. They you know, maybe 0.0911, right? I get the hat tip to the 911 you know, numerology in the world of Porsche, but just not what you want to see in that particular mint. But there's lots of drops. There's so many drops, actually. This was a great idea. This idea came from someone in our community this week, but someone came with this idea of like, hey, NFT.com needs to have a drop calendar. And by the way, if you have ideas for NFT.com, please pass them over to our team, specifically Don Tebow, our chief product officer. He immediately started drafting what we call a PRD, a product requirements doc, for what an NFT drop calendar could be, because there's so many drops going on in the world of NFTs. And even in this market, people continue to pursue this as a means to community build, as a means to protect private property rights, as a means to allow users of a particular game to take part or ownership in something. And we've seen that. I mean, we've seen drops. We made fun of another one recently. I don't even want to mention it on this one, but there's another Coffee and Crypto episode where we talk about a very funny drop of someone literally just dropped a collection of feet pictures, and that ran up. So there's a lot of activity still happening there, and community building, like creators and communities. And by the way, we could look and we can joke about these, but a lot of the projects, yes, some of them are just funny, and yes, some of them are meme driven, but understand what's happening here. These are active Discord driven communities. These are active groups of people who are building. If you look at like what people are executing on, look at like Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins is moving in the direction of that project was bought out by a member of their community. They're moving into toys, physical toys. The Pudgy Penguins are really cute. That intellectual property is turning its way or making its way into the form of toys. Perhaps it's going to be licensed for Netflix films. I'm not saying this for Pudgy Penguins. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just saying the possibilities behind the intellectual property behind these. We're seeing interest in Bored Ape Yacht Club movies, Bored Ape Yacht Club bands. The Bored Ape Yacht Club had a record deal. So there's much more than what maybe meets the eye when you first look at it. You look at these crazy prices that some of these are selling for. You get to own a piece of intellectual property. Imagine owning a Marvel character that's part of a loved and adored by its fan base comic collection that ends up making its way to you own the Green Lantern, or you own Spider-Man, or you own Superman, and you own it because you own an NFT and you were part of that storytelling. I don't think it's too crazy to think that one day the movies that we're consuming, the shows that kids are watching, it's a way more interactive relationship between you and the movie you're watching. It's not just a massive film studio that owns all the characters, the intellectual property behind it, but it was the NFT holders that owned some of the characters, and their characters are now in the film, and maybe they're being paid like an actor would be paid, and that's it's fascinating to think about. The world's changing very quickly.
No doubt. And I would just say, going back to the Porsche release, I think also another good thing that comes out of it is that it's going to be a playbook for any traditional brand coming into Web3, kind of like the do's and don'ts. And it's going to serve as a really good case study going forward. So that's incredible news. Hey, so Jordan, I'm going to shift gears here and kind of focus on ourselves, Immutable. So you want to, I guess we've already kind of touched upon it a bit about Coffee and Crypto with the podcast that's released. Also, this past week, we put out a release for any folks that's been watching these episodes. You've been hearing our progress with Coffee and Crypto, but we formally put out an announcement regarding our growth around the newsletter, and then also announcement about the podcast. I guess, is there anything you might want to kind of add as far as what's happening with Coffee and Crypto?
Again, if you're just tuning into this and you haven't seen this, like, our focus continues to be on, we're all in on the strategy behind Immutable, which is that we have a great opportunity to guide people on their user journey in crypto. And the best way to do that is to get them when they're first getting started. And we wanted this call to action. When someone, when I was speaking at an event, when someone was DMing me on Twitter or DMing me on Instagram, like, hey, Jordan, like, I'm just learning about crypto. I'm just learning about NFTs. Where do I start? And it always bugged me that I didn't have like a resource for them, that I didn't have like, hey, I would just tell people, like, literally do what I did. Go read the Bitcoin white paper. And they'd be like, I did that. It's really confusing. And I'd be like, okay, read it 25 times, because that's how many times I had to read it to understand it. And people never like that answer. And by the way, you should still do that. If you're listening to this, you should still do that. Read the Bitcoin white paper, read lots of white papers, and then get wallets and then play with these things. Like, learn how to send a fraction of a Bitcoin. You don't need $23,000 to get started. You can do it with $5 and $10, and you can play with these protocols. So go check them out and understand that. But we wanted this resource for people to go to, and Coffee and Crypto has served as that. We now have something that's written with a humorous tone, that's incredibly informative, that tells you honestly just what you have to know about what's going on in crypto for that day. And we cover all the top headlines, everything that you could possibly want to know about what's going on, but we contextualize it and we make it entertaining. And I love that we have that. And I love that we're doing this audio format, and, maybe look for us to maybe increase the repetitions, the number of times we do it on a weekly basis. But now it's about once or twice per week that the podcast is coming out. And the newsletter is daily. So that's great. And we have that. But the strategy for why we want to do that is once you have an understanding and you get it, people start to have these ahas. I remember my first ahas in crypto. I remember like, okay, is this going to be something? Is this just like magic internet money, or is this going to be something big? And when you start to have those ahas and understand how these protocols can be used, your eyes start opening up to DeFi, and they start opening up to market cycles, bear markets and bull markets. Your eyes start opening up to NFTs and the use cases for NFTs. And then our goal at Immutable is to have offerings for each of those things, to help educate people on their crypto journey, and then to get people comfortable using decentralized tools like NFT.com, because NFT.com is very different than previous platforms. It's fully decentralized. You have to BYOW, bring your own wallet to NFT.com and then connect it, and it's non-custodial. You're always in possession of your own funds. So that's important for us, and it's educating people on that journey. So look for us to just continue to focus. We hit a big milestone. Press release went out this week. I'm really excited about, again, the synergies between coffee and crypto, having our own marketing channel for things like what we're building, NFT.com. And then again, just, props to the people who were here before the newsletter, who just were knowledgeable enough to buy a Genesis key, join the Genesis key community, the GKC, as we like to call them, are hanging out in Discord in the GKC lounge. And are active and are like giving feedback. Like shout out to Brock, DCL Names, Houdini. By the way, some of these are Immutable Holdings shareholders, so props to those of you that are Immutable Holdings shareholders as well. Alec, our incredible Discord moderator, Dap Dango is in there, and is offering up feedback. Jay Blake, Jay, I've actually met IRL. Some of these guys have met IRL, some of these guys not. SLL, Brazensky, Bitficus. I just want to give these guys shout outs because they're active, they're chatting, they're participating. I'm actually in Discord right now reading their names. So if any of you are actually watching this update, thank you for watching this update. I know some of you have watched this update, and I got into a little bit of critical trouble with them because I think I shared something in this update that I hadn't yet shared there. Apologies. I get excited. But the Genesis Key community is very near and dear to my heart. It's at the center. It's the core of the heartbeat, if you will, of what we're building with NFT.com. And this thing is moving to a public beta soon. Hopefully we can announce a date soon. But I'm going to defer to my folks over on the engineering team who are actually writing the code to indicate to me when I'm ready to share a date publicly.
Looking forward to it. Well, hey, Jordan, I know we covered a lot here, talked about what's happening in Immutable, also talked about broader kind of ecosystem. So I guess before we wrap up, any last thoughts?
Just that, listen, I understand there's a lot of volatility in the capital markets, especially among like crypto stocks, and not even just crypto stocks. We've seen like the electric car companies, Tesla down massive double-digit percentage points, and up yesterday, almost double-digit percentage points. There's volatility out there. Consult your financial advisors, do your own research. Obviously, we're not sitting here telling you to buy our stock, but we do recognize the volatility in our stock. And what this is for, this format, is our way of documenting us building this company. And, props to our legal team that gave us permission to do this. We were very worried about doing this, but instead of waiting to have like a quarterly earnings call or something along those lines, or an annual shareholder meeting, I think this idea, Billy, was great. And I remember us talking about it, which is like, what if we just recorded this weekly video and tracked the progress of us building this company? So I said this in our Immutable Holdings weekly update at the end of last year. No matter how many people listen to this, we're going to keep doing it. And thanks to those of you that have left comments, thanks to those of you that are watching it, thanks to those of you that are actively using or reading Coffee and Crypto and leaving your feedback there, or using NFT.com and hold Genesis keys. We appreciate all of you. Crypto is here to stay. I'm very confident that we can continue to build this, Billy, and our market cap will return to previous highs that were where we saw it. I will hold every share I've ever had in this company. I just want to say that here. I've never, ever sold a share in this company. I never sold stock up the peak of our market cap. And I haven't sold stock at the bottom of it. I also, many people don't know this, I also don't take a salary for working here. So this is my absolute passion, really just second to my family. We're all in on this. We're here to stay. And, I can't wait. I can't wait to continue to prove not just the market, but prove people who maybe didn't think that we could do it, to prove people wrong, to show them that you can build great companies, that the best companies are built in bear markets. And I'm very, very, very excited to, again, Billy, not just rewatch these episodes a year from now, but to also, I get excited thinking about where we're going to be then, because we are just, it's frustrating sometimes, but we are making progress every single day, every single week. So just look for new milestones and we'll be here.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end. So thank you all for watching. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And subscribe.
All right.
Thanks,
Well, have a
everyone.
good one. We'll talk to you soon.